Allison here. Today I am making waffles and kombucha. So I don't have a lot of time to make breakfast every morning like a lot of other people, but what I love to do is make a big batch of pancakes or waffles and put them in the freezer, and you layer them between wax paper or parchment paper, and then you just pop them out, stick them in the toaster. It's ready, it's easy, it's quick, and it's good for you. So I'm making gluten-free waffles today. And the recipe that I'm loosely following is from Max Living. I have their recipe book and it's really great. I recommend their recipes. You can look them up online, Max Living recipes. They're all really healthy. They follow gluten-free and sugar-free. So, or grain-free, I should say. So, first things first is, and I'm loosely following because I've played around with recipes before. Every time I make something, I look it up. I look up a new recipe just because, I don't know, I like to make my life difficult, but I don't know, either I find a recipe I love and then I forget to save it, or I just forget which one I used. So I found this one recipe where you separate the eggs and you like whip up the egg whites, and that helps make it fluffy. A lot of gluten-free recipes are very dense. They're getting a lot better just because more and more people are playing around with it, but usually it's kind of dense and it's not light and airy like the regular flour gives taste to. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so just kind of wigging it. So I'm going to put the yolks in almost the wrong bowl. So I'm just separating the egg whites from the yolks. And this recipe calls for 3 eggs. So we gonna go ahead and do that. So yeah, and then I'm gonna whip up the eggs. Again, I whipped egg whites last video I made. So I'm just gonna whip it up and make them nice and light and airy. With my immersion blender, which I love. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools. Leave that there, whip it up. Oh, hey buddy, my puppy came to visit. Says, what's that noise? Okay. So you could whisk by hand too if you don't have an immersion blender. I just like it because it's less work and it's faster. So then I'm just going to mix everything else in the bowl. So I'm doing 3 tablespoons-ish melted coconut oil. And I'm gonna fold everything into the egg whites, so I'm just gonna put it all in here. I'm just slowly adding it because it is kind of warm. I don't want to scramble the eggs. Crepes. That's about 3 tablespoons. And we're gonna do about, I don't know, half a teaspoon of salt. And this calls for 3 tablespoons of coconut milk or whole milk or whatever kind of milk you like to use. I should have used a bigger bowl. These are the kind of problems that I run into while cooking. So use 2 big bowls when you make yours. It calls for stevia. I'm using vanilla cream flavored stevia. About a little over 1 dropper full. Some regular vanilla. I'm just gonna do like half a tablespoon. So half a cup flour. I'm gonna break that up. I can't even read these anymore. I'm gonna do 1/4 a cup of this gluten-free flour blend. And a half a cup of, or a 1/4 cup of this almond flour blend. And then I'll call half a teaspoon baking powder. More powder. Some almond butter. About 2 tablespoons-ish. Dewey is sitting here patiently. He wants to lick my spoons. I'm gonna give this a little mix. And something else I like to add to my pancakes and waffles is protein powder. It just gives it a little more protein. Wow, this is not making very much. But that's okay. I can just make a second batch. When I'm doing this, I like to make a big, huge batch because if I'm doing it right now, I might as well do a lot to save time for the future. And I do this kind of stuff on my off days when I don't work, just so I don't have much else. I don't have other big projects to do on the days that I work, so I use Max Living protein powder. And I'm gonna do like a huge scoop and a half. So when it comes to protein powders, you want to make sure you're getting clean protein without added artificial sweeteners because those can be toxic. So you want to make sure you have protein from clean animals. So the protein I use is from grass-fed cows, 100% grass-fed, grass-finished. They're not given hormones, and it's sweetened with stevia. So it's really clean, good protein. So you want to check, make sure you know where your protein is coming from. So that is pretty thick. So then I'm just going to whip these up a little bit more, and then I'm going to fold them in. The only thing I don't like about the immersion blender is it's very difficult to hold for your thumb. You have to like push it into it. So mine sounds like it might be dying slowly. So when I look for my next one, I'm gonna try to find one with a better grip. So I'm just putting this in here and kind of folding it in, which it's not mixing very well. Like I told you before, I'm not quite a baker, more of a cooker, chef. So yeah, I don't have the patience for baking and measuring perfectly. But somehow I make it work. So if there's hope for me, there's hope for anyone. I'm a scraper. I like to scrape with a spatula, get every last little bit. So this is very runny. So I'm gonna add another half cup of flour and probably mess up my light and airy plan, but that's how baking goes with Allison. And hopefully, if any skilled bakers are watching me, hopefully you're not cringing by what I'm doing. So, sorry if it's painful to watch. Okay, that is definitely better. Still folding and lifting, folding and lifting. It's still really runny. So now I've added a half cup total flour, or a whole cup total flour. But you know, if I was doing pancakes, I would add more flour to this. But since I'm doing waffles and it's going to be in a waffle iron and be contained, I think I'm alright with this. With it being this runny, so. So there we go. I like to save my scoop. Plop it in, and I preheated my iron and I sprayed it with coconut oil cooking spray, because when I don't, they stick and it's a big mess. And that might make for a funny video, but it makes for a frustrated me. So, and close that. It used to have a little clip here and you clip it shut, but sometimes I add, I don't know, maybe too much cooking or baking powder and it pops open and it flew across the kitchen and it's lost now. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for those to rise and do more, and then I will show you how I store them. Okay, so I made a second batch because the first recipe only made 6 and that's not enough. So this is how, well, my daughter ate 2 of them, so otherwise there would be 12 here. But this is how I layer it. I put one in the bottom, and then I take a piece of parchment paper and put it in. You can see how messy a cook I am. And you just put the other one, and you layer it. And like I said, I pop them in the freezer, and then in the morning, I just grab one out for her, pop it in the toaster, and she's good. And it's easy, and you can mix up the recipe. If you want the second recipe, I did chocolate protein powder, so it's chocolate instead of vanilla. Here we go. My face, my mean mugging face made my camera autofocus. So yeah, then I just squeeze all the air out. I stick it in the freezer, just like this, and super easy peasy. So I'm not gonna do kombucha in this video because it's long. So I'm gonna make a separate video for the booch. So thank you for watching. If there's anything that you want me to do, let me know and I'll see if I can. So thanks for watching.